Ladies and gentlemen, this is John Dudley Speaks, and I'm here to tell you that Tunnel Vision by Beach Bunny rocks. Chicago-based indie pop punk band Beach Bunny has been around since the mid-2010s, spearheaded by lead vocalist and guitarist Lily Trafilio at the height of the bedroom pop craze, as viral music platforms started to regularly introduce listeners to the underground scene. Fast forward to 2019 after a few EPs, and Beach Bunny signed to Mom and Pop Records, lining right up with the TikTok virality of their track Prom Queen, hitting the airwaves in a huge moment for lo-fi pop punk. Honeymoon was released in early 2020, and it's a hidden gem of a debut record, propelled by TikTok once again by the virality of the single Cloud9, which also happens to be one of their catchiest, best songs yet. Emotional Creature followed in the summer of 2022, and it's a worthy sophomore effort, experimenting a tad with the form of indie punk through more ambitious production and song structures that don't always hit, but when they do, it's full of fiery angst and attitude that mixes well with its heartfelt core. Now moving forward as a trio, their first record in nearly 3 years, Tunnel Vision, carves out a new path for the group in their most fine-tuned, slickly made, and thoughtfully nuanced album to date. The production from Sean O'Keefe, who's known for his work with Fall Out Boy, is pretty balls to the wall and as bare bones as it gets, emphasizing a rawness that we've come to expect from Beach Bunny, but it has that Avril Lavigne, Paramore, Panic at the Disco flavor to it and its pop sensibilities. Mr. Predictable slides into a wallop of a chorus that's well balanced and patient, not letting the elements of the production get ahead of one another. Big Pink Bubble, Vertigo, and Just Around the Corner reminded me of mid to late 90s Green Day albums, due to the way that percussion really drives those tracks forward, while the vocals and guitar are in constant discourse to provide dynamic flourishes. But then there's a slick Y2K pop punk employed on Chasm and Pixie Cut that emulates Blink-182 at the apex of their popularity and credibility, but it still finds a catchiness that you'd see pop up on the latest Olivia Rodrigo record. Violence and the title track are probably the best example of highlighting the guitar patterns, which are supremely melodic and ear-grabbing. And these tracks, as well as the song Clueless, fittingly feel like they could have been pulled from the soundtrack of a 2000s rom-com like She's All That or 10 Things I Hate About You. And because of O'Keefe's willingness to let the band play the damn songs, while he pushes them to be in sync with their influences, melodies, and rhythmic straightforwardness, this record really blossoms into something special musically. The songwriting from Lily, Anthony, and John is by far the best component of this record, as the band ditches the relationship-based lyricism and storytelling for something a lot more intangible, mental health. The overarching themes about growing anxiety surrounding pressures and expectations as someone reaches an age where money and success and figuring your shit out could feel more prominent, they're palpable and real, and the band doesn't back down. The title track excellently outlines how difficult it is to trust yourself again after landing in a situation that you're killing yourself over. Yet at the same time, we have to keep going. And that's a tricky conflict to keep on running into. And sometimes it feels weird that that's considered normal. Meanwhile, Clueless dives into social relationships and the fear of not being able to gain back what you lost, especially if you perceive your best friend to be someone that's moved on to better things, and you're not included in those better things. Then you have Violence, which injects the state of the world on top of all of that, due to the horror show that is the modern geopolitical landscape. So that layer of existential dread is justifiable. 10% tariff on mental health. And Cycles closes things thematically with a deliberation on optics, how pointless and exhausting it feels. So the candor in which these lyrics are delivered truly cuts to the heart of zillennial issues that are honestly not talked about in depth enough. The band's performance absolutely crushes it with locked in, tightly constructed rhythm sections that lend just enough creative bandwidth for Alvarado to go nuts on the drums. Then there's Trafilio's vocals that don't indulge the TikTok aesthetic that they came up on, mainly because a lot of TikTokers that tried that didn't respect the form they were adapting. And instead, she lets her vulnerability and frustration and consternation exist right up in the driver's seat. Not to mention, there's a knack for choruses from her that really impressed me, showing us that maybe the best way to deal with this shitty world that we're living in is to just sing your heart out without caring about who's watching. As for the track listing, we're looking at 10 tracks at just under 30 minutes, and maybe that shortened runtime is the only thing that holds it back. Track lengths are 2 to 3.5 minutes long, and though some passages might hinder the pacing here, I genuinely am in the camp of wanting more songs on this project. It's lean, it's cut together with precision. I think I just wanted to spend more time with the band, to be honest. Not really a problem though, because when your hit rate is this stunning, why would you decide to do anything else than a tight-knit punk rock record? Not much is more punk than showing up, doing what you set out to do, and then leaving. So I respect the hell out of it.
The hole's getting deeper. I don't think my body was built for this. I feel like a creature
I loved Tunnel Vision, and it's easily my favorite Beach Bunny project so far, but better yet, it's a huge sign of where they're going from here. And I love that we're in a climate that champions pop punk so much that a great band like this can get a fair shake at making their mark in such a crowded genre. But hey, that's just my perspective. If you're a Beach Bunny fan, go listen to this record. It kicks ass. And if you're in the need of a punky, lo-fi record that scratches the same itch that Sum 41 and Good Charlotte did years ago, just with a modern zillennial twist, you'll enjoy this one. Alright, that's all I got. Bye!